Can home canned foods survive the apocalypse? Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness. And while I don't necessarily prep for the apocalypse, right, I prepare for life's little emergencies. That is a question that comes up rather frequently. How long does our home canned food last? Let's talk about it. Home canned foods have a relatively long shelf life, but whether they can outlast the apocalypse depends on several factors. Here are some of the things to consider. Number one, proper canning techniques. If you don't put it up properly, you're not going to be around to worry about it. Seriously. The apocalypse should be the least of your concerns. Can it the way that you're supposed to can it. True and tested recipes that are proven to make sure that you and your family are safe and secure with consuming what's in those jars. Number two is storage conditions. And I know that that's kind of a with a lot of people, right? But basically, cool, dark, and dry. Those are the rules of thumb, cool, dark, and dry. And yes, if you live in a super hot climate, I know that can be challenging. I know if you live in a super damp climate, that can be challenging. But do your best just to make sure that they are cool, dark, and dry. The room that we are in is a southern-facing former bedroom, really. And so we have blacked out the windows, right? And everything is covered and it stays dark in here most of the time. And on average, with a few rare exceptions, it will be somewhere around 75 degrees in this room. The heat vents are completely blocked off, but that also means the air vents are completely blocked off. So any air conditioning that does seeps in here because the door is almost never closed. But that is what we do to try to regulate the temperatures in this room. Not everybody has a basement. I get it. Not everybody has a full spare room to use. I get it. Do what you can with what you've got. But your goal is cool, dark, and dry. The hotter it is, the shorter the shelf life, okay? The wetter it is, the shorter the shelf life, because lids will begin to deteriorate if it's super damp, if it's super wet. Humidity is a problem, right? And if it's in light, it just naturally will remove the nutrients from the food faster than if you put it in a dark place. So always run with cool, dark, and dry. When you pressure can, or water bath can, but when you pressure can, say chicken, ugly chicken, right? What it does is it creates a vacuum, sealing the lid to the jar, removing the oxygen from inside, sealing the lid to the jar. And that's what keeps it, that's part of what keeps it safe. Now, as you can see, these are from 1122. I don't know which way. Anyway, and so these are still perfectly good, perfectly nutritious, delicious, and wonderful. Canning it properly is essential for the shelf life. If the seal becomes compromised, and it happens, okay, but if the seal becomes compromised while it's sitting on the shelf, throw it out. Don't consume it. Then it's no good. And you'll know because it'll pop off. That's why I recommend going through your stores quarterly or at least twice a year to make sure that the lids are all on the jars as they should be. Because if they come undone, you don't want them sitting in there. That attracts all kinds of nastiness and it smells horrible. What types of food if you're stocking for the apocalypse, right? Proteins actually last the longest. How awesome is that? Because you know it's my favorite thing to stick in a jar, right? Proteins last the longest. So out of all the things, if you're looking at longevity, protein is an awesome thing to can. It will last longer than your fruits and your vegetables in the jars. Those have a shorter shelf life. They're not known to last as long. They degrade faster than protein does. But if canned properly, protein is your friend. Next, you want to make sure that you rotate the stock. I say it all the time. This is not here to look at. It's not a set it and forget it. You need to rotate through it. You are better off eating at yesterday's prices than today's prices, okay? And tomorrow you'll be better off eating at today's prices than tomorrow's prices. It just keeps moving, okay? So eat what you store what you eat. It's not there to stare at. It does you no good sitting on the shelf. Eat it. Use it. Learn how to use it in different ways. There are so many different ways that you can use your canned foods. It's absolutely fantastic. Rotating your stock ensures that you are using the oldest first and the newest last. Quality of ingredients. You've heard the term garbage in, garbage out. That's applicable with your food also. Am I a huge stickler for, throw out the whole banana if part of it's bruised? No, okay? Am I a huge stickler for throw out the entire mushroom if part of it is bruised? No, I'm not. Cut off the bad parts. You're fine, okay? There's no such thing as beautiful fruit vegetables. It's not the way nature intended it. Use the fruit and the veggies, okay? But look at the quality. If the entire thing is off, don't stick it in a jar, really. Cook it up immediately. Cook it up, throw it in the freezer, but don't necessarily stick it in jars. You want the best quality going into your jars. Garbage in, garbage out. The term apocalypse, okay, implies a catastrophic event that may disrupt normal living conditions. So literally an apocalyptic event could be a medical emergency or a financial emergency or a natural disaster. Those could all be considered apocalyptic events. They're not all the end of the world as we know it, right? So having a good stored pantry helps you survive all of those apocalyptic events. If you can maintain proper temperatures, light, that kind of thing, then it helps extend the life of your pantry so that it's there for you during what is hopefully never occurring, the personal apocalyptic event. Well, it's important to note that ugly chicken could save the world. Is that amazing? Ugly chicken could save the world. Home canned foods can be a valuable part of long-term food storage. They really can, okay? They can be part of the plan, not the entire plan, but part of the plan. So you want to make sure to diversify. It's not just home canned food. It's also freeze-dried. It's also dehydrated. Hit it all, okay? Hit it all. Can you dehydrate meats and leave them shelf-stable? No, it's not something that you can do. But you can freeze-dry them or get them freeze-dried. Hi, Thrive Life Consultant. We have a coupon this month. But these will actually last you years and years and years. Is it my goal to have these same jars on the shelf in 2 years? No, because that makes no sense at all, okay? These are for everyday use. These are to be used, and these help me save money to keep storing food moving forward so that I always have that cushion in my pantry. Remember, diversity is so important. So it's home canning, it's freeze-dried, it's dehydrated, and it's commercially canned foods also. You don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to be the I do it all, because nobody can do it all. Literally, nobody can do it all. Diversify where you can, when you can. Some things I can't grow, so I buy. Some things I can't make room for in a jar, so I get them freeze-dried, or I get them commercially canned, or I get them dried. It's a great way to diversify and make sure that you have all of the food groups covered, all of the basics to create good, healthy, nutritional meals for you and your family. Ugly chicken can save the world during an apocalypse. If you want to see more about canning your own ugly chicken, check out this video right here. And until next time, everybody, be safe.